Gentlemen, have either of you done anything relevant in the last week?
I've done things. I started my first ever second playthrough of Hollow Knight.
Okay, so I should go first. That's what I'm taking from this, since Justin has not confirmed.
Chris and I have been doing a lot of demo playing recently to like see a lot of the new games that are coming out right now.
That's right.
That's probably the most like relevant thing that I've done in the past like couple weeks. The first one that I really want to talk about because it was sick. It's a game called Denshattack.
I knew it.
And it is Crazy Taxi plus Jet Set Radio plus Buck Up and Drive, but you're on a train and you're on train tracks, plus Tony Hawk. It's also Tony Hawk as well. The game is awesome. The game feels amazing to play. Like, unlike Jet Set Radio, which feels like it's a little, like, at least Jet Set Radio 1. I can't speak on Future or Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, but I played Jet Set Radio 1, and the gameplay of that one felt a little loose, and it wasn't really geared towards, like, doing tricks and whatnot. Whereas Denshattack, like, they have an entire catalog of, like, these are all the tricks that you can do with your train. Mm-hmm. And it feels really good to play. The art style is phenomenal. And it's definitely a game that I am very interested in picking up when it comes up.
Yeah. I want to caution away a little from Jet Set Radio, just so people don't think you're, like, openly running around. Like, it is on rails, because it is a train. You are on train tracks. Literally, you are on rails. So it's not like you're navigating environments necessarily.
There are levels that are skate parks where you do have like different tracks and things to do. You can like wall ride with your train. You can go on grind rails with your train. Mm-hmm. You can like jump from rail to rail. So like there's some levels that they have in their demo that show off a little bit of their like exploration of the game.
I see. That's on me then. I played 3 levels and was like, this seems sick. I'm going to stop playing because I might get this. So I didn't actually get that far.
So when you beat all the levels, they're like, you hit the end of the demo. Good job. By the way, there's an extra level you can now play, and it's a complete just like sandbox skill area where you can just like learn the mechanics of the game, and it's awesome. Like it feels really good to play, and it's absolute eye candy. Like if they still have the demo up on Steam and you have a computer that can run it, I highly recommend giving it a shout.
I think also at the Indie World thing they announced today, there's maybe a Switch demo, maybe.
Ooh, so if you have a Switch, you can also give it a shot. Maybe. I'm not going to confirm or deny that.
Yeah, they definitely announced it for Switch today, though. So that was a thing. But yes, it is good. It seems very tight. I personally was struggling a little bit at first just because it is like, I think it's like A to start your engine or something. And I keep wanting A to be jump. It's right trigger to jump. And then you're like right sticking for tricks. And then left stick or left trigger is drift. Like it's a little involved in that good video gamey way, but it wasn't like that natural for me clicky kind of thing, you know?
It was the same. I definitely careened off the tracks a lot, just trying to get a handle of the controls. But once you start getting again, when you get to that part of the demo where they give you that like sandbox where you can just go nuts with it and just kind of experience all of the mechanics that are in the game, you're like, oh no, this game's going to be good. This game's going to be good. And also I can confirm the Switch 2 does have a demo for the game, so you can check it out on Switch 2.
There you go. That'd be a good place to play that game, I bet.
Yeah.
Have you played other demos, Justin, or was that the main one?
I have. Chris, you would know the name of it. It's that record store one.
Wax Heads.
Yes.
I actually never got around to that.
So I downloaded it when Chris threw it into our server.
Yeah.
And I was in a night of just like, well, I'm going to try all these demos. And that was one of them that I hit on. It's a cool enough game. The art style is cool. It seems like there's a pretty cool story going on. It's basically just Papers, Please, but with records. So someone says, I'm looking for this vibe of this type of music. And I remember like hearing it from this one album, and the album had a storm cloud on it. And so you walk around your little record store and you just look through, and the funny thing is, something that people will describe to you, you have to take this record out of the sleeve and flip the record over. And like maybe that thing they're describing is on the back of the record and it's all hidden from you. So you kind of have to like navigate your environment, see what's going on, and then hopefully you get the right thing and you sell it to the customer. Yeah. Super good, at least from what I played of the demo. It didn't seem like there was a time limit on anything, which I really appreciated. It was a really just cool like vibes kind of game. You're sitting around, you're relaxing, you're getting some records, things like that. But
good to hear. Overall, that's good then, because the art style definitely had me in on it just alone. It looks very, very cool, very stylized, cartoony kind of thing. I'll have links in the show notes for all the games, by the way, for those listening on the record. So definitely click through and look at these for sure.
Yeah, the last demo I downloaded, I haven't played it yet, but I know you played it already, Chris. It's Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, Scott Pilgrim EX, which is not a new. It is a new game. It is not the old game with new content, because I think maybe the name is confusing some people. But it is a whole entirely new game from many of the same people that made the original Scott Pilgrim game. Anna Managuchi is back doing the music, Tribute Games doing the gameplay part. It's interesting. I think it is good, and I think it is good in different ways. The original game was kind of more of a run from left to right beat 'em up. This is you are dropped into Toronto and you will go back and forth between screens specifically.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I don't want to say, I don't know how to describe it, just because beat 'em up games are so usually like you start the stage and then you go through the stages and then you have beat the game. This is like, okay, you might need to go back to the beach and then you might want to go back to the street Scott's house is on, right? But then something else is happening in some like time rifts. You jump through a portal and go to that version of the city, and then you'll jump back out and go back to the beach, right? You're kind of just going back and forth as the plot is guiding you along.
That sounds more like a Metroidvania than a beat 'em up.
A little bit, right? It's not your usual beat 'em up, but that said, the actual feel of the beat 'em up stuff is very good. I think when Crub first started, Justin, you and I streamed the original game, and
yes.
I think I came away from it like, this is fun, but there's frustrating things about the regression where it feels like you're just grinding. This immediately gives you enough to feel very good, I think. You play as, oh God, what was Mae Whitman's character in the movie? The one with the hammer. They fight in a club.
Ramona Flowers?
Roxy.
And Ramona has the flower. You play as Roxy
hammer,
in the demo. And her
you said
ninja
hammer.
sword.
I'm like, that's Ramona, dude.
They announced Amy in the Sonic movie before. I've had a hammer on my head. I'm sorry, that's on me. But yeah, immediately feels very good to play. You have more stats to upgrade. You fight against Metal Scott. That seems to be the plot here. So there's a bunch of robot enemies and things like Metal Sonic.
Is Metal Scott supposed to be the new replacement for the Scott that we can't say?
Sure. Yeah. I guess.
Because there's another version of Scott, but you can't say his name in 2026.
Yeah, he's very negative.
Yeah, if you had to go there, absolutely, then yeah, probably. But I don't know. For all I know, he's still in the game because he showed up in the anime, right?
He did show up in the anime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brody, fake fan. Next year, we'll be calling Roxy Ramona Flower.
I do think that sounds really fun. You are right, though. The way we played the original Scott Pilgrim video game was that we actively cheated. We would buy the coffee, use the cheat code to knock yourself out.
Yes.
Collect all the coins. We undid Scott's video store debts. You pay off the debts, and then you get these things that you can spend like $2 on, and they just like crank your stats up like crazy. Mm-hmm. And we just sat there for like 20-30 minutes and just did that, so that way we could just play the game like a normal beat 'em up.
Yeah. And I'm sure if like you had a group of buddies IRL and you're like, we're just going to take our time and get at this over a few weeks or something, that's probably fine for that. But I think with a beat 'em up, you're generally like, I'm going to sit down and beat this afternoon, and I'm going to go back to my life. And that original game was not entirely conducive to that. I guess it depends how long this game is, whether it would fit into that mold or not. But I think with the different direction they're going here, maybe it'll be better suited for coming back a few different times to beat it. I think I saw a review say 5 hours. So Yeah.
5 hours, though, is something you can do in a sitting. That's interesting.
If you're a gamer, you can definitely do that. But yeah. Seems good. I've also played some other demos, personally.
Ooh,
to prevent Brody from talking about Hollow Knight for even longer.
Hey-ho.
The most depressing demo I played was for Panzer Dragoon Zwei, the remake from the developer of the original Panzer Dragoon remake.
I don't know, that's a quality remake there. Seen some footage.
The recent miserable House of the Dead 2 remake. I think they are just dumping these because they have a license and they're like, we need to move on with our lives. Because that first Panzer Dragoon remake, that was like 2018, 2020.
I remember when it came out. I do remember when it came out, and it was one of those where I was like, I'm glad that they did this, but also who was asking for Panzer Dragoon remade?
I guess me, once they announced it, I don't think there was anything wrong with the original game, but the remake came out and it was kind of like good enough, kind of a little bit, and they eventually patched it to like a decent enough place, right? Back when I made videos, I covered them, and then I look at this and I'm like, I don't often walk away from things with this question, but this was genuinely one where I was like, I don't know who this is for, ? Because I think anyone who is a Panzer Dragoon fan is probably pretty attached to that original game. Like, it's a really cool game on Saturn. Like, you can kick that thing into widescreen natively, 60 FPS. It looks really cool for the system. It feels really good to play. If all this cool stuff going on throughout the game, like, it is a rail shooter for people who don't know. So like a Star Fox, right? It's one of the games from back when they made games like that, basically. A lot of cool stuff
Plunger
going
minigame
on.
and Rayman Raving Rabbids classic, yeah.
Exactly, whatever the hell that
Starlink.
is. Yeah, the last Starlink, the last Starfighter. But basically, if I had to boil it down, it just feels like they had some assets and they're like, I think we can technically call this a remake if we arrange it to look like the original game. The shooting of enemies does not feel good. The visuals of the enemies being shot feels very hollow. The actual environments feel very uninspired. Like, it's just, I don't think this pulls in anyone who is not a Panzer Dragoon fan. And I don't think this pleases anyone who is, other than people who are like, thank God something is happening with the series again. And I walked away going, I don't think this should be released, basically, because I don't know who would actually appreciate it and want to spend $25.
At least in the state that the demo is being put out in, it's like, don't even bother kind of vibe.
And there's already been 4 patches to this demo based on feedback already. The demo, 4.
How have you patched? Jesus Christ. Okay.
In like the week or 2 it's been out. So when I played it, there was 1 patch and I had a very negative impression. There have since been 3. I've heard things have been fixed. There are minute granular issues that hardcore fans have with the gameplay. That won't matter to most people, but I was not particularly positive about it as someone who at least tries to find something to point to as like a, hey, at least there's this and things. No, there was nothing, unfortunately.
That's a shame. That's really a shame, because that's a series that people do have high regard for. They think of it fondly. So it's a shame that it's kind of getting dragged in the mud right now.
It's a cool series. It made me want to go back and appreciate the original again, for sure. I also played the demo for Vampire Crawlers, the sequel to Vampire Survivors, which you could maybe guess from the name is a dungeon crawler. So it's like you will move along a grid 1 square at a time. You will pick an arrow direction or hit the keyboard to 90-degree left or right, kind of like Panzer Dragoon Zwei's camera. And you just kind of crawl through environments and you fight the enemies from Vampire Survivors, but you have a card system instead. So it's like a randomized card thing comes up, and the cards are the attacks from the game, right? You get the whip weapon as a card and it whips enemies on screen for a certain amount of damage. You get the holy water dousing splash thing, like that hits enemies. There's the Holy Bible where the Bibles circle around you. Everything has been translated to this, and it's very cool to see how they have done that. You basically go through and get gold and experience. You level up your character, which gives you a choice of a new card to add to your deck, and you're just going through maps from there. I put 33 minutes into it, and it seemed like there was a lot more to the demo, and I had to stop for my own sake because I could feel the hooks getting in. And I think that's probably the biggest praise I could give, is that it's a completely different style of game, but it was getting the similar hook into me once I was giving it the time. Same with Vampire Survivors. Like, I think if you boot that game up for like 10 minutes. You're like, what the hell is this? But then there is that certain threshold you hit where everything starts to congeal and you go, oh no, this is bad for me, right? This very much has that.
You're not getting out of here without something. Like you're leaving something behind.
Yeah. I did not know what to make of this game from the trailers, but now that I've actually played it, I think he is onto something, and I'm very about it, and I hope it never comes out, just for my own sake.
I hope it never comes out positive compared to Panzer Dragoon. I hope it never comes out negative.
Yeah, two sides of the same coin there. Brody, I'm going to let you talk, and then I can close this out with a couple more relevant things.
Okay.
Just so we aren't completely making you sit in the corner.
All I've been, in terms of new gaming experiences, it's been a little bit of a Heaven's Vault, but I'm waiting to really like dig into that when I have time. So it's just been, I the other night I was looking for something to play, and I was so bored. I have 9 Souls and Ultros like ready to go, but I was just sitting there like, I think I'm actually going to restart Hollow Knight instead of playing these other 2 Metroidvanias that I know I would probably like very much. And
right.
I've never replayed that game since I first played it, like way back in 2018. And fell in love with it, and it became like one of my favorite games of all time, like if not number 1. And having recently gone through and done all of Silksong to 100%, I didn't platinum it, but I got 100%, plus the extra like bonus, super hard bonus stuff that like doesn't count for percent at the end of that game. Like I just basically didn't get the time trial beat it in 5 hours trophies, because I'm like, nah, that's for insane people. But
right.
Being someone who got to the end of Silksong, beat Lost Lace, like at the end of it, like beat that final boss, learned how to literally like thread the needle of that character so much. I kind of was wondering how that would translate back to Hollow Knight, because I'm like, is my muscle memory going to be overwritten by what I'm expecting from Silksong? But turns out it's actually, the skills have transferred in a way where all of my muscle memory from back playing Hollow Knight all those years ago has combined with all of the skill mastery I've gotten from playing Silksong. I am making my way through this game at a pace that I did not ever anticipate that I could make, like a pace that I could be to play these games at, where like after 8 hours in my first play session, just like going straight through, I had gotten like half of all of the upgrades or something like that, and like half of the charms, like at least half of the grubs. And in terms of bosses, there were bosses that like would take me forever. I remember taking me forever first time through, that I walked into their room, the boss room, unprepared. Like I didn't even have like the charms I would want for that boss on, and I was just beating them first try just because I could like dodge their attacks now. And I didn't really like even remember specifically what a lot of those attacks were, but it was just like walking in and just being able to like eyeball the whole situation, which was a really cool experience from how I played that game originally and Silksong, where you're very much trial and error. You're going to be on this boss several times. I'm also doing like sequence breaking things, because that path is so open that everyone's going to have their own kind of adventure through it, no matter what. Like, even if you're following the basic breadcrumbs at the start and not sequence breaking, you're still going to end up having your own pathway through that game. And there's a few instances where I know that you can do basically not even a bug, like this is very much intended. You can kill yourself in a certain spot and then use the little guy that spawns from having killed yourself in order to like boost jump up to an area that you're not supposed to get to. And you can do that early a few times. So like I skipped almost the entire second area, and I got over to like the right side of the world like way earlier than I was supposed to. I did all these cool things and got all of these upgrades really early, and got a bunch of these like attack upgrades early. So I was going back and facing like early bosses, coming in kitted with like endgame gear. I ended up beating the second fight with Hornet, which people consider one of the harder bosses in the game, I think. I ended up beating her first try, and it was cool fighting Hornet because it was like all of the moves that she's using and all of the traps that she's setting as all stuff she has in Silksong. And so when she would go to use her like big AoE move, I'm like, well, I know the exact radius of that, so I could just not be in that. Yeah, it was a very, very strange experience. I think the hardest boss in the game that I had trouble with personally on my first playthrough was a boss called Soulmaster. And he's just very like unpredictable in like a lot of ways. Again, first try. And like some of these I'm like by the seat of my pants winning with like 1 health left. But it's crazy just like taking all of that applicable skill from Silksong, both in terms of like the actual like bobbing and weaving, and also in terms of build, because I don't think I varied my build up a whole lot in my original playthrough. Like I experimented with badges, but like I didn't try to do like a magic thing. I didn't try to do. Now I'm kind of like attempting all of that, engaging with systems that I didn't really engage with the first time through, and I'm getting like crazy results because of it. Like you can do an insane amount of damage with magic and all of that stuff. It feels like I'm playing like a normal video game and not a game designed to hurt me.
Right. Okay.
That's a weird.
It's interesting to hear about.
That's what I'm getting at.
That's a weird sentence to say, but I get what you're saying.
Because I think there's a lot of games where a sequel comes out and you're like, oh man, this plays like the first one maybe, right? Because it's been a few years. Then you go back and play that first game and you're like, oh no, they improved a lot about the minute feel moment to moment. Yeah, sounds like this is a case where it's very much a companion sequel in a good way.
Yes, well, and I always thought that was the smart thing. Yeah, I always thought it was smart that Team Cherry decided we're going to break the Metroidvania sequel curse of having to take all of your powers away at the beginning by just having you play as a different character. Right. I thought that was really smart. And the fact that like you can eventually get a moveset, an optional moveset that kind of makes your moveset similar to the first game, but we're not going to start you with that. You are going to have to get used to this other one, and then there's going to be other movesets on top of that you can choose from. So like don't get locked in. And I think that was really, really smart. It helps the game feel different. It helps it feel valuable in its own way. I will say, when I played Silksong, and I was very much like, yeah, this is about as hard as I remember Hollow Knight being. Like, I'm thinking that maybe there was something to people being like, oh, this game's harder. Or this game is like the Dark Souls 2, like, duel or die kind of game. And I'm like, I didn't get that comparison at first. Now going back and playing Hollow Knight and feeling how easy it is in my hands now, that like I'm beating probably like half of the bosses on the first try, if not the second or third. It's just like, there maybe is a level of difficulty disparity between the two.
Well, that makes me feel like a hell of a gamer then, because we were bonding over that when I was playing Silksong. I was like, yeah, man, it's tough, but I'm doing okay and I suck. So, you know, these people must be pansies.
And arguably, the hardest part of Silksong is the first third of that game.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's maybe some merit to those people actually all then, or after all.
Maybe. It's interesting. But maybe.
There's merit to it if you're thinking of it in the way of like, I'm comparing it directly to Hollow Knight as opposed to like being a standalone game. Because if Hollow Knight's easier than Silksong, then it makes sense of saying Silksong's really hard.
And these were the Hollow Knight freaks being like, this is way harder than I remember Hollow Knight being. And we were like, yeah, you sissies.
Then that makes sense that they would say something to that. They'd say something to that like effect where if they're used to playing Hollow Knight and that's the only thing they play and they are like, I need to be able to beat Hollow Knight 5 seconds faster and maybe I'll do a BLJ in that game. I don't know.
Well, and I'll say that like, bro. I think there is some level to it where I was definitely like, I was way better at Silksong by the end of that game than I was at the beginning. Whereas, like, maybe if I went and replayed Silksong now, I'd be having a similar experience. Because, like, beating the final secret final boss of Silksong requires a level of, like, dexterity that, you know, even the beginning of that game would never demand of you. So it is maybe entirely possible that I'm having an easier time in Hollow Knight, not because Silksong was in general harder, but because the final bits of that game were so hard that I had to like adjust, and now I'm just like still reeling with that level of skill in my brain.
How long was it since the start of your new Hollow Knight playthrough? Like, how long was that time between that and like finishing Silksong? Like, how much time do you have in between?
I finished Silksong, I think mid-October. I think 100%ed it mid-October.
And it's currently March, so
yeah, so 6 months roughly. Not even, yeah. That's closer to like
November, December, like 5 months.
Yeah,
like that 4 months.
And like and that muscle memory of playing the original game is still there. Where like I'm not missing jumps. I'm not like screwing up on things where I distinctly remember myself screwing up a lot on my first playthrough. I'm just kind of like schmooving through the game. Which also I held off on replaying that game for so long because I'm like, oh, it's such a big game. Like it's there's so much to do in it. Like that'd be a long commitment to like get back there and maybe actually get the secret final ending that I never bothered to get because I was trying to do the Pantheons for so long.
Right.
And I always thought, oh, those Pantheons are so hard, they're so out of my reach, there's no way I'll ever do them. And now I'm replaying it like, I think I'm gonna do the Pantheons. I think I'm gonna platinum the game, maybe actually.
You're gonna actually do it this time?
Maybe.
You're gonna actually be a fan of Hollow Knight?
I only have like a few things left to do. I have like Queen's Garden and Deep Nest and a Path of Pain and the White Palace, I guess. But like other than that, not a whole lot left in the base game for me to do.
All right.
Sounds like we might have found a Souls game that you'll actually beat, huh, Brody?
Hey, I beat Demon Souls, which doesn't have a real final boss. I beat Silksong. I did that one.
That's another Hollow Knight, though.
Yeah.
All right. I guess
it's
I'll
fun.
close this out here then.
I have one more, I guess. Finally finished Metaphor Refantazio.
You beat Metaphor Refantazio.
Finally finished it. Finally finished it.
How do you feel?
Something that'll probably tie to the to later what we do in our recordings. Because this is something that we record in our pre-show that you can come and see on twitch.tv/crub_official. But yeah, finally finished Metaphor Refantazio, and I'm not going to say too much about it because I don't want to spoil any of that game. I think you should play that game if you have a love for JRPGs and for 100-hour games.
Right.
But I personally think that from all the Persona team games that I've played that have come from that team, this one probably has the most thought-provoking ending to a Persona game, where a lot of Persona games are, at the end of the day, just kind of like you've make your decision, now you live the rest of your life making that decision.
Right.
Whereas Metaphor, it's a lot about, is it even worth it? Like, is it even worth continuing on? Do you want to, like, if everyone just gives up, is there any point of trying to make a better world? And it talks a lot about that. And it's really, really thought-provoking, especially in the current geopolitical climate. It's very interesting to kind of see a game like that talk about that kind of topic. And it's very applicable to current day. So if you have 100 hours to spare and want to enjoy a good JRPG with a really great story and an absolutely phenomenal soundtrack, one that they're actually now putting to orchestra and doing a concert tour for, give Metaphor Refantazio a shot. It's on Game Pass and it goes on sale for like $20 routinely. Like the price is like continually going down.
I was going to say, I see physical copies of that like $20 on Wario 64's feed like every week at this point. You know, if you want to get in, it's probably a good time to get in. Yeah, basically.
And I'm like, dude, at this point,
glowing
Chris,
recommendation.
Last time you played?
All right, I have two more things. One is, you know, when you play something and you're like, I don't think I gave that a fair chance, but I don't want to play more right now. So you kind of walk away. And then you go on your podcast and it's like, I guess I could talk about it. Marathon Server Slam.
Hey.
Kevin and I popped into that a couple nights ago, and that was very much like, I felt like an old man. That was my second experience with an extraction shooter. The first was the beta for Sega's Hyenas, which shortly after they went actually NAFAM and canceled it outright before it ever came out.
I love that they put out a beta for a game and then said this beta was so ass. We're just going to cancel.
You could be a guy with a Richard Nixon mask in a spaceship and then steal a Sega Genesis, and that was the gameplay loop. I didn't really understand it, but you know. So here comes Marathon from Bungie. Very cool visual style. Very like, oh, we're using Y2KE kind of fonts and bullshit, right? Like the look of it's kind of neat. Gameplay wise, I didn't really feel like we got a good grasp on it, right? I think you maybe want or need 3 people teams for that. And we got paired up with like random people who were running off and or just quitting. So we just get like completely blown over by other people playing the game or even just the robots on beginner. So I was like, I think we're doing something wrong or misunderstanding something. I don't know. I say all that because I'm going to 98% break embargo on a different game that had a beta test over the weekend. And I'm going to allude to it. And I used Bungie to set us up here to say it is under a similar company to that perhaps, so that I can allude to it without naming the name. Some have called this series an industry plant, for example, but it had a closed beta test for its new online multiplayer game. And I alone and no one else I would implicate hopped into that one. And I am saying all of this because I walked away going, oh, that's actually fun. And I wish I could tell people that would maybe look at that in a very negative way, perhaps, as I did when it was announced at a state of play recently, and kind of wrote it off. I walked away from it going, I think I actually want to play this when it comes out. So it is a 3-person drop into a map in a ring closest game, which is hilarious for the franchise this is from. And basically, you're dropping into a small open world area with a larger than you'd expect map, but a ring is closing in the entire time. So it's like, all right, I'm going to pick someone with a big hammer, or I'm going to pick someone with a bow, or I'm going to pick someone with a spear. And I have a bunch of attacks and combos based on that. And we're just going to go around and loot. We're going to kill these robotic animal enemies, perhaps being a staple of this series that I'm not naming and would never break NDA on, and getting parts from them and getting perks for your character per match. They don't carry over, at least these in-match ones do. And you're kind of just screwing around for like 10 minutes and going like, all right, we're just whooping some butt together, and then we're going to go beat a raid boss basically at the end, and then we go back out to our hub world and upgrade our character class and buy stupid camp items for our stupid camps. And that is the gameplay loop. And I know that makes it sound like every other video game in existence lately, but there's just something actually fun about it. And I think that a lot of people aren't going to give this a chance when it comes out due to a lot of stigmas around it that aren't this game's fault. So this is just my plea to put this out here, and that when I can talk about it, I can point back and go, hey, that game, that's this one, and you should play it. If it's free. If this is like a $40 game that this company decides to charge for, I think it's dead. But I think for free, it's one Concord. People would be surprised by.
Damn.
Rest in peace, Concord. Rest in peace, High Guard, even though it was free. And that's why I'm like, I think if this is paid after watching High Guard struggle, I don't think this goes. I'm a little pessimistic.
Anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, like we played it for 2 hours, and it's like, you know, I've had my fill for tonight, but I'm kind of sad that this test is going away because I actually kind of want to come back and play more. So strange.
There's something for you.
There's
Developer
something
of
there.
game, I can't say.
Yeah, we can't name it. Of course, that'd be illegal. I also forgot Rollin Rascal.
Hey.
I played a lot of demos, apparently. This is, just real quick, it's a 3D run fasty Sonic game made by people who made one of the 3D run fasty tech demo-y Sonic games, fan games, Sonic GT, I believe. This was them basically kickstarting, like, swap out all of the IP to our own original creation and then make the actual game pitch. So it's behind the camera 3D. You have like a spin dash analog, you have spring analogs, you have homing attack analogs, momentum based, right? So you kind of build up speed as you go down a ramp and then shoot off the end, and you can go up into the sky. Unlike a lot of the 3D Sonic fan game tech demo things like this, that all seem to focus on shooting you up into the air and just flying over all of the level, which is cool, but only fun for a few minutes. This does a much better job at giving an interesting environment to navigate through and giving you the fun of going over the level when you want to, but enough interesting stuff in the level to where you're like, actually, I want to get back down there and run through it just because it feels good and it looks cool. I am usually quite disengaged from things like this from the Sonic fan community just because there are so many. And at a point, you've just kind of played them all. But this one, I think, is probably going to appeal to anyone who likes 3D Sonic games, especially like the SA2 Unleashed boosty kind of style where it's more of a hallway and you're going through it quickly kind of vibe. I think
Mhm.
I think people should probably actually put this on their radar and kind of keep an eye out for it. Like, it gets my seal of approval, which I don't often give out to 3D Sonic fan game type things. So good on the Rollin Rascal team. You won me over, I think. It's kind of fun.
Keep doing your thing, bro.
Yeah. I don't know if this is coming out soon. There's some stuff I'd say maybe tweak, but I mean, if it's still a ways off, it's pretty impressive for where it's at. So thumbs up.
Hell yeah.
Steam Next Fest, baby. Hollow Knight.
Dang. I was like, this is the first time I've actually engaged in Steam Next Fest. And I gotta say, actually a pretty cool time. Like a lot of really cool stuff that came out this Next Fest that I was able to get a demo for and actually test.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I would have never, when I saw Denshattack, I think it was announced at a State of Play or like a PC gamer show at like the E3 slot, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, cool. Remind me when that game comes out, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
And now that the game has a demo for it, I was like, sweet, I'm going to give that a shot, and found something that I actually really, really think is cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So
it's always fun.
I mean,
there's a lot of good stuff if you dig in. There's a lot of, AI crap in there recently you got to sift through, but like when you find the good stuff in the next Fest demo, it's awesome. I'll throw some links to ones I meant to try and didn't get to, but looked cool down below. Also, assuming that the demos are still up. I think they stay, but I guess otherwise I'm just linking a bunch of games down below. But get our curated seal of approval list in the show notes this week. A lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. You want to check out a couple demos, give it a shot. I still got to pick up Unbreakable or Unbeatable, whatever the name of that game is, the rhythm game that has like the like the 80s anime aesthetic. I remember there was a demo for that a while ago, and then it just dropped a couple months ago, and I just haven't had the time to like sit down and play it.
I think there's also a demo for Nocturne, the other one.
Oh, right. Yeah,
I played that demo as well, actually. I did play that demo.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That game's interesting. It's a JRPG over the top, like Sea of Stars kind of vibe, but all the battles are their own song that you can play as a rhythm game to beat the enemy that you're fighting against. So like even like level 1 mobs all have their own music that they composed for each enemy in the game, and it's pretty cool.
It's got like full Guitar Hero difficulties too, right?
It does. And also has like, I think you can do custom like song mapping and everything in the game as well if you want to.
Okay.
The art style is a little rough, but they put a lot more of the time into the music of the game. So like I have no problems with it. At the end of the day, I'm playing it for it being a rhythm game, and if it has a cool story attached to it, even better for it.
Well, all right. Hell yeah. Shout out Nocturne.
All right.
Also shout out Unbeatable.
Shout out Unbeatable. That's what the name of it was. Sorry. I knew it was like Unbreakable, Undefendable, something like that.
I got you, bro.
Unbeatable's that's a game that I do got to pick up. Like I have to pick that game up because it was real. Like the demo was really good for it.